please briefly introduce yourself, where you come from, where you are at now, and what that current role of yours is?
I'm Kateřina. I work as a postdoctoral researcher in the tumor biomechanics lab, which is located in Strasburku at the CRBS institute. And me, myself, I'm a cancer biologist, and I study how the cells adapt during the cancer progression and what makes them aggressive.
You have built an academic career spanning several European research hubs from Prague, Paris, Strasbourg. What motivated you to pursue an international career?
That started relatively early when I visited the University of Glasgow during my master's within the Erasmus program. And I got really intrigued by the scientific research, and I really knew I wanted to pursue the research abroad. And that influences the choice of my PhD, where I came across the opportunity to do a double degree study program, which was finally organized between the Charles University and the University of Strasbourg. I was interested in different research institutes, also not only in France, but also in Germany. But finally, I really liked this opportunity to do a double degree study because I could still keep in touch with the university in Prague, and at the same time, I could discover new environment and do the scientific research in Strasbourg. And I thought it's a really nice combination of both, so I decided to pursue it.
So what was that transition like between the Czech and the French academic system, and what are some of the main advantages and challenges of the two?
For me, it was not really a transition, it was rather a parallel experience, because I was working in both institutes simultaneously, and each 6 months I was changing the lab. I had to fulfill the study requirements of both the universities, which were not always fully compatible. So it was also a big administrative challenge, also to organize the PhD defense, which had to be common for the two universities.
Now, currently, you work at the Tumor Biomechanics Lab at CRBS in Strasbourg. Could you please describe a bit what that institute is like and what makes it unique?
So the Tumor Biomechanics Lab, which is led by Jackie Getz, is a very unique research environment, I would say. The main focus of the lab is to study cancer cell dissemination and metastasis outgrowth. It's unique in the way the lab is organized, because it consists of 5 different research axes that span relatively wide research questions. So they start really from the fundamental cell biology, answering basic biology of cancer cells, to the interaction of the cancer cells with the tumor microenvironment, up to more translational research, which is probing different therapeutical approaches for cancer.
You have also worked at other major institutions like the Institut Curie and IGBMC. How does the research environment in Strasbourg differ from those past experiences?
Indeed, working in a big research center brings a lot of opportunities. There is a lot of scientific exchange, and it's a really stimulating environment. Also, you have access to many resources and really state-of-the-art equipment. And from that sense, the research at CRBS is more quiet, but it's well connected to the other research centers that are also in Strasbourg. So we also promote exchange, and we share equipment, and it's quite nice, it's peaceful.
At CRBS, what background of scientists does the institution attract? Do your colleagues have any interdisciplinary backgrounds, or is it purely cancer biologists?
That's an interesting question, because CRBS, I think it's a bit unique institute in a sense that it doesn't have one topic that it's covering, but it really combines researchers from different fields. So there are also neurobiologists, there are some cancer biologists, but there are also startup companies, which I think is a very unique feature, because it does not only host academic research, but also a bit of applied research.
Is there a lot of interchange between this public research sphere and maybe these aspiring private startups, companies?
From what I know, I don't have many contact with the startup companies, because we don't really share seminars or meetings. I'm not particularly aware of of what they are doing, but it's true that once a year we have institutional seminars, and there they are presenting their work.
Now, for your research particularly, how would you explain precisely what you do to a non-professional, and why is it so important in the broader context of cancer research?
So as I said, I'm a cancer biologist, and my main focus is in melanoma. And I'm trying to understand what are the changes that the cells undergo during the cancer progression. In my recent study, I have described that the cell basically changes its architecture when they become more invasive, and they are repositioning their organelles, especially lysosomes, to the cell periphery, and that makes them more aggressive. And in the future, I would like to investigate whether this can be used as a diagnostic marker, because melanoma, when it's diagnosed early, it has about 96% of patient survival, which drops to 15% when the disease is metastatic. So if we can achieve early detection, we can really save some lives.
Has this focus and this interest of yours in this particular subject shifted at all from when you first started getting into biology and into research?
I'm initially a chemist by education, so I studied the clinical and toxicological analysis at the Charles University. I got interested in human physiology, and that influenced the choice of my PhD subject, where I finally studied the cell division. Cell division is really close to cancer because cancer is uncontrolled cell division, so during my postdoc I became interested in the mechanisms that regulate the division and that keep it in check.
How is it studying processes like these? How does a regular day for you look like at the laboratory?
I work with a lot of patient-derived cells and with patient biopsies. During my day, I spend most of the time in the cell culture or behind the microscope taking pictures. And in the remaining time, I do a lot of image analysis. I also learn how to program because that is very useful for image analysis. I also write some grants. This is also a big part of the time to actually obtain the funding for the research.
You also lead collaborations with clinicians who translate your research into patient studies. How close do you think your line of study is to having diagnostic or therapeutic applications?
I would love to say close, but the truth is that we have just started a collaboration with Professor Lipsker from the oncodermatology clinic in the hospital in Strasburku, and we envision to look at the lysosome positioning in different patient samples. What I would like to do is to follow the patients in time, because when we speak about diagnostics, we need to have a tool that can be used in the earlier stages of cancer. So we would need to follow up the patients in time, and the envisioned follow-up is about 3 years for now. And then we will need to analyze the data, put everything together, and then we can even start thinking about putting this into clinics. So it's years from now.
For you personally, what are some of the findings of your research that you are most proud of?
I'm really excited about my recent study about melanoma aggressiveness, where I have discovered that the lysosomes are really repositioning. And the reason for that is that I really see the potential for this to becoming a diagnostic marker. And if that would come to practice, I would be really proud.
So what are some of the major steps scientifically, technologically, organizationally that you need to take now to advance that project of yours?
So I'm currently in somewhat transitioning phase because I have completed the project that I have started as a postdoc. Now I would like to establish myself as an independent researcher to be able to continue in this project. And I'm also currently formulating the objective of the next project, and I'm trying to acquire money to support my research, so that's challenging.
So it's almost impossible today to mention science and technology without mentioning AI. How do you think AI and computational modeling can impact the future of cancer research?
I think artificial intelligence has really great potential in science. I think we are only beginning to uncover the true use it has in science, in image analysis, in image classification, and also in the disease diagnostics. And I think we can already use the existing data sets we can analyze them by artificial intelligence, and we can get additional insights on the current problems.
Outside of the lab, you have also volunteered teaching science in India, in Nepal. How did that come about, and what did those experiences teach you?
I think science is really beautiful, and I like to share this vision with others, especially with younger students. And when I saw the advertisement that they are looking for volunteering teachers who would lead scientific workshops in Himalayas, I didn't hesitate at all, because those are the two passions I have: mountains and science popularization.
Besides that, you have also been active in organizing different conferences and engaging in public science events. What motivates you to engage in these activities, and do you think scientists have the duty to share their science with the general public?
I think initially it was my PhD program that motivated me to start with this kind of events, because there is a big impact on building so-called soft skills. Later on, I really understood that this is very important for science, and currently my motivation is really to promote the networking in the Strasburgu area. As we have discussed, the institutes are a bit smaller. I would really like to engage people into discussions and promote further collaborations.
What is it like being a Czech scientist abroad, a Czech scientist in France? Do you still feel somehow connected to the Czech scientific community?
So there are not many Czech researchers in Strasbourg, but I keep active contact with the researchers that are working in Prague mainly, whom I met during my PhD, and we often exchange about how is the science done here and there, and it gets interesting.
What are some of the main differences that you hear about from your colleagues in Prague, and compared to what you are finding here?
I think it's always related to the level of scientific exchange, because in France I'm used to people really sharing their primary results, reagents, whatever they have generated, they're really keen to share. And when I was in Prague, I didn't have a feeling that this is so common, but this could have also changed nowadays.
Just to wrap up, what advice would you give to young Czech students, young PhD students who are perhaps thinking of doing research abroad?
I would say try it, because it's really enriching experience. Do your research a bit before you go on the lab and on the institute that you are planning to join. If possible, try to ask the people who are already around what is the environment looking like, and if it's something you would like to pursue. Don't be afraid and just go for it.